Jenny, you have a book right here. It's called Cancer Free, Are You Sure? Your personal story was a big part of writing this book. Can you talk about that experience?
Yes, it was life-changing. In 2009, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. And I have to say I'm a registered nurse, not practicing at the time, just raising my family. And all of a sudden, I thought I was a perfectly healthy 47-year-old. I went to the doctor every year, had good physicals, my lab work was fine, but then all of a sudden I have this life-threatening disease and I need to go in for surgery and chemotherapy and potentially radiation. And being a registered nurse, that's all I knew to do. So of course I went along with that, and I actually had 2 plastic surgeons bidding on who could get me in first because I wanted it out, and I wanted it out quickly because I thought that was the answer. After that, I decided, wow, I think something's wrong here. I need to build up my immune system. If that faltered, I need to fix that. So what led me to this, the information that I think is life-changing, I really think the information in my book can change the way the world detects cancer if people will just listen. That's the key. But anyway, so I went to a breast cancer support group, and it was a first meeting of this group, and there were about 50 ladies there. And each lady went around and told her story, what kind of cancer she had, what treatment she had. And as the evening went on at this meeting, I realized that half of those ladies had had a recurrence. And I thought, my goodness, do I have a target on my back, or what is going on here? I was told I'm cancer-free. I have clean surgical margins, a clean PET scan. These ladies had the exact same thing, but yet they're on chemotherapy again. They have no hair. They're wearing wigs. They have pink mugs with pink ribbons on them. They're wearing pink blinged out T-shirts. And Scott, these ladies were thrilled with their doctors, and they were thrilled with the care they were being given. And I just wanted to get up and leave, but I had kind of helped get the group together, so I was kind of stuck. But I walked out in the parking lot and I thought, dang, I have got a target on my back. There's got to be more to the story. I knew at that point I was not being told the truth.
What did you find out from there then?
So from there, I was on a mission to not be like those women, because I could just see myself moving my chair over with them, and I thought, this is not happening to me. So I got in the car. I mean, I live in Houston, Texas. I have been to the finest medical, institutions in the world. What's in Houston, Texas. So I went to Dallas, and I went and saw, I went to an integrative clinic there, and I walked in and I said, hey, I would like to help build up my immune system, do some detox. And the first thing the doctor said was, and he's actually a chiropractor and a naturopath, and he said, well, let's make sure you don't have cancer. And I said, oh no, I'm cancer-free. And he said, are you sure? And I'm like, yes, I have clean surgical margins, I have a clean PET scan, I don't have cancer. So he said, would you just please bear with me, and let's just check and make sure you don't have cancer so we can know what we're dealing with. He goes, I'm going to help you build your immune system. So he sent my blood over to Greece for a circulating tumor cell count. And that's the first time I learned about that any tumor over about 2 millimeters has this blood perfusion, and cells get swept away into the bloodstream. And chemotherapy doesn't kill all of those cells. If it did, it would be the cure. It would be in the newspaper. I mean, that's not earth-shattering news, but the thing is, when people are given chemotherapy, they believe that it is a cure. They're told this is what we have to do. And the doctor doesn't ever say it's a cure, but he gives these wonderful statistics that are relative instead of actual. And so you want to believe they're a cure, but actually, I tell people you have to realize it's just a treatment. It is not a cure, it's a treatment. So anyway, it came back, and I had 14.2 per 7.5 cc's of blood for cancer cells, which the easiest way to make that understandable is if anyone has ever seen a little insulin syringe, which is 1 cc or 1 milliliter. If you put all of my blood, lined it up in little insulin syringes, I had over 2 cancer cells in each syringe. And so all of a sudden, the light bulb clicked on how someone could have colon cancer, have the tumor removed, clean margins, their doctor says they have no evidence of disease, sends them back out in their life, and then the tumor shows up later in the liver. It's because of those circulating tumor cells. And I knew why I had that terrible gut feeling at that meeting, because I had those cells and I just didn't know about it. So that was the first test I found out about. And from there, I started going to medical conventions. And actually the first one I went to was put on by Best Answer for Cancer. Great foundation led by Annie Brandt. You can go on their website and find a doctor tab and find an integrative oncologist who will look at all the tools in the tool bag, not just surgery, chemo, and radiation. But I called her, and she was having one of their annual conferences, so I said, well, could I come, and I'd love to volunteer, and you know, whatever. She says, well, come on. So I went. I got there, Scott and I walked in, and I was in the big ballroom, and I look at the slides on the screens, and there were a lot of people. They were dressed very nice, and it was like mTOR pathways, and I thought, wow, these slides are really advanced for just the public. You know, I'm a nurse, and these are a little advanced for me. Well, it turned out it was a medical convention for physicians. It was actually put on by Best Answer for Cancer, but it was the IOICP, which is the International Association for Integrative Oncology Physicians. But the best part was they had a huge exhibit hall, and the public could not get in. We were in a hotel. They had people standing at the door. I walked in, and the first booth I went up to was one of these tests. So the information just started to flow.